at least for me, coming from me directly. Why the fuck not would I promote myself as best I can for the fact that I do this for the people every Saturday live here on Instagram, IG Live, however you want to abbreviate it. Motherfucking who this been watching. I'm who this, and obviously with these two things here, they ain't the biggest but they're useful and they're still good. 35 years and counting. Been watching a bunch of movies, some TV, as a lot of users been doing right now with the pandemic, the whole, past 10 months now, almost a year approaching since this whole thing started and took over the world, literally, global pandemic. But yeah, who this been watching every Saturday live here on Instagram, IG Live, coming from me. Who this is one is where you'll get it first. Again, every Saturday. Times to be determined because guess what? I'm an adult, and just like most of you are, of age or not of age, you're here with me as well, but you got schedules, you got time, conflicting things to do as well, besides joining me here. But those of you that are joining me right now and do so on a regular basis, or if you're brand new too as well, welcome and thank you. Please follow, like, subscribe, comment, etc., all that jazz too. Throw me some hearts, whatever you gotta do to make it happen. As far as this is happening right now, this is happening right now here today. Who this been watching, goddammit. This is what it is. This is what I'm doing. And for right now, what we're gonna do is the following. We're gonna do a show. Obviously, duh. That's the whole fucking point of doing it every Saturday fucking live. As I enjoy doing it now, actually today, this episode in particular today, who this been watching, my movie recap / review podcast, unofficially per se, because it's not really review. I don't go straight into the whole spiel the movie, whatever. I kind of recap, I kind of talk my shit through it, and then be it as it goes, we'll go with however the flow feels like taking us. It's like we're whitewater rafting sorts. I never been. I don't know if any of you out there watching have been whitewater rafting. It's something I'd like to do. But at least as far as movies is concerned, I can't remember off the top. I know I watched one in school. Back when I was in school, in the 90s, they used to roll in the whole cart with the TV on top and the big fucking gigantic VCR, on the second tier, pop in the fucking VHS you got from Blockbuster. Or I don't think I've ever been to a school that was cool enough to have a library with videos. No, actually no. Grade school, middle school, high school, none of them had videos. I think by the time I went to college, shout out to LaGuardia Community College, got my 2 years. I didn't pull the shit that some people do of, I'm going to take 5-6 years to discover myself in college and, get my tuition paid for, which I didn't get. I didn't get FAFSA. I didn't get any of that age shit money at all. So shout outs to you if you did. So I don't know if you ever had to end up paying that back. I believe from what I understood, you never had to, so you were good in that sense. So, clap it up for you, bless you for that. But I never had that. I had to pay out of pocket every time. Yeah, I don't even think my college had a videotape library. I think we might have had DVDs. I'm not sure. I know we had CDs. Because I'm talking about, I went to college, junior associate degree college, whatever, from 03 to 05, I want to say. So it was a while. It's been a while since I've been in school. I had plans to go to 4 years, but as they say, life gets in the way. My mother got very sick around that time, so instead of saving from the part-time job I was doing or the odd jobs I was doing to go to 4 years, a 4-year school and actually pay my way through it in books and shit and whatever, I was going to take a break right before going on with the rest of my fucking collegiate journey. Again, she got sick, so I had to just take care of her, watch over her ass, and then, she's good now, thank goodness. That was a scary time. Shout out to anybody who's ever had to deal with themselves, be it family members, whoever, anybody who had rheumatoid arthritis. That's what she got randomly, severely, bad. If you're not familiar with what that is, obviously we both had to learn the hard way, her in the flesh, literally. It's basically a form of arthritis which transfers itself from head to toe. So one day she'll wake up as she used to. She used to wake up with her arms like completely dead. Couldn't move them, lift them, use them, nothing. And if she tried moving them, she was in horrible pain. Then that if that's a Monday, let's say Tuesday, the pain shifts down to her legs. She can't get out of bed on her own. She's like practically paralyzed almost, or it feels close enough to being paralyzed. It was a really rough time for her. And this is to shed some light before we go into funny enough. Today's movie, today's topic, today's episode, purpose of celebrating 5 years since the release of Kung Fu Panda 3 from DreamWorks Animation. Funny enough how that theme of that whole film, the end of that trilogy, works into what I'm getting to right now, because as I'm sure a lot of you that might have had family or yourself, God bless if you're with us here right now too, in good health and good spirits. Hopefully you get through it, and no COVID for nobody at all, even your worst enemies. Don't wish that, don't do that to yourselves or anybody else. She had to take a lot of medications. But this is when I woke up to the fact that, medications, prescription meds at least, goddamn, they take a toll on you too, besides the fact of what you're suffering from already. Because she had her rheumatoid arthritis she was dealing with, like heavy, like no joke. I had to carry her into the bathroom so many times to see if she could shower herself. Imagine your mother, like, I think she was barely in the 60s at that time, or if not his 60s just yet. She couldn't shower on her own. I had to help her out with that, which I didn't mind. She done it for me so long. I mean, I did her the biggest favor I think I could possible, and I made sure to wipe and clean my ass thoroughly from like the age of 7, because I want privacy in the bathroom, alone time, and I'm in there until my legs is numb, reading or posting or YouTube and whatever. But I always had that kind of decency to give towards her. So in return, I didn't mind helping her out in that sense too, because she really needed it. She was like practically a corpse that just so happens to be breathing, because she was like immobile half the time. She had to take, I forget the name of the medication, but she started taking it. She did start feeling better a week in, but then a week after that, her bones started thinning out. She had to go back to the doctor because her bones were getting like brittle apparently. She didn't break anything, thank God, but she was feeling weak overall. Not the pain she was getting from the RA, but just weak in general. So she goes back, and then they say, okay, well, that medication is taking off of your RA, but you're going to have to take these other 2 medications to deal with the thinning of your bones going on. You need to start taking milk again, which she had just like stopped taking, funny enough, a little bit before that disease crept up on her. And then it was like trading on and off medication. And it reminds me so much of the fucking commercials you see nowadays of, prescription for this to cure this one thing, but then the side effects is the longest part of every commercial that goes on for its own 1 or 2 minutes. Of possible side effects are, depression medication. This will treat your depression and subdue it for so long, but possible side effects can be deeper depression, suicidal thoughts, dead dick, dry pussy, this, that, the other, and on top of that, some nausea and indigestion and diarrhea. Depressed diarrhea has got to be much worse than just regular, I'm kind of happy, good with life where I'm at, diarrhea compared. But yeah, it's just like a whole shit show, no pun intended, with everything as far as medication is concerned. Because I even have issues with taking Advil, Tylenol. I'll take Motrin because that seems to be the only thing that works in my headaches, on and off on occasion I get. But again, getting back to her, she was so fed up with taking medications because it was fixing this one thing, but then it was fucking up a whole nother thing and causing these other symptoms that she was starting to feel too at her age as well. She took it upon herself, which is the road, I guess you could say, to self-discovery. She was so animate about trying to find, per se, her cure on her terms, outside of prescription meds, out of like possible operations or surgery. I don't think they were suggesting any for her for the RA, but she was just tired of being told by doctors like, this is the only path, but you're gonna have to deal with it because this thing might be fixed somewhat, but then you're fucking up yourself with everything else you're taking, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So, funny enough, I don't know how, but she learned and taught herself to be internet savvy enough to Google things as she should, remarkably at her age. Again, 60-ish, I believe, so, or maybe creeping up on 60, but still, where she found her own way in treatment by actually changing up her diet, not in the old-fashioned way of I'm just going to cut out fats, I'm going to stop being a fat ass and see if I lose weight, but she was like, there's got to be something else. So what she did, she stumbled upon, I forget the name of the author and the book, but I know I bought it and I've gave it to people who were having similar circumstances, or if they said they were suffering from RA, rheumatoid arthritis, excuse me. I'd give them that same book. All I know is it's the blood type diet, literally a diet you adapt and adjust to according to your blood type. I believe we have the same blood type, myself and my mother, so she's a O negative or something like that. She read the book, read through it, thumbed through it, saying this is basically to detoxify and purify your blood, which may be the causing or the trigger as far as a lot of your health concerns are involved directly. So long story short, she read the book, she went according to the diet, like to the T, like no bullshit, nothing. She was committed to it full time, to what the diet according to her blood type was recommended for her to do. She stuck to it, and to this day she's still at it, like strict, like a bodybuilder is in time for like competitions to eat nothing but whatever they gotta eat to look their best. She's stuck to it, committed to it, and even if she falls off a little bit, I don't literally slap it, but I kind of slap it back into reality and say, hey, you want to end up like you were fucking laid out in bed so many times where I had to carry you to the bathroom, I had to carry you to stand up and see if your legs warmed up enough to actually stand on your own? Do you want to fall back into that? No. So, okay, so stop fucking around and do your diet as you should and keep it real with yourself. And she has till now, and it's fantastic. I would recommend it. Of course, consult your doctor, whatever the fuck you feel like doing first. That's definitely your right. But look it up. It's. I'll try to post the info maybe in the description later on, but it's definitely eat according to your blood type. You can type it in Amazon; it'll probably pop up. I think the author's last name was Adamo, something like that. But I started doing it, and I have felt a difference. It has worked for me. I can vouch for it, not just because my mother said so, and that's the end all be all. But I recommend that. Now, on her road to self-discovery is, oddly enough, what we find here with, of all people, well, not people, of all characters, of all pandas, Betty had said, is Po. The lead character from, of course, today's focus and subject, Kung Fu Panda 3. From DreamWorks, released back in 2016, hence the reason we're celebrating it today, because January 16th, today, funny enough, while we're doing this live, of course, recorded and then pre-recorded once you get it later on, is the 5-year anniversary of the release of the film. Now, I'm a fan of animation. As I said, I believe in the Soul episode of Who This Been Watching. The last movie I remember as an adult, grown man, I believe 2015 or so, that you would have caught me as a grown-ass man, as I sound, as I look, pardon the appearance otherwise, but you get what I'm saying. The last time you would have caught me crying in the theater, if I had like a facade to put up or like a mask to wear to like kind of guard my character and like not be the open book as I am, if you get to know me, I'd say I never done such a thing. I'm not a pussy. I don't cry in theaters. I don't cry ever. What are you talking about? I'm Spanish. I don't do those things. The only crying I can tolerate is from fucking my wife too good because I'm pounding the pussy to shreds or whatever, etc., etc. Some, macho shit like that. But no, I can't lie to you. I can't do that to you out there watching. Anybody who's listening, it doesn't matter. I'm a mumble book, so I can openly admit that the last time I cried like a bitch, like a fucking baby, ugly crying. I mean, like, no lie. I wish I was lying or I was exaggerating when I say that, but that's how I was fucking crying. Because and thanks to Disney Pixar's Inside Out. Oh my god, that shit wrecked me. And if you've seen the movie, without spoiling anything, I hope, I believe, Bing Bong, Goodbye. Oh my god, when that part came up and that fucking came out of nowhere, because you thought, oh shit, they might pull it off, and then whatever, without trying to ruin that too much for you if you ain't see it, I strongly recommend it, by the way. And Soul too. And Soul. Definitely watch Inside Out before you go into Soul, so they kind of mesh together and you kind of get into that spirit of, okay, I just finished this deep exploration about my feelings and, feeling sad, mad, happy, grim, despair, etc., etc. Let me go into this one about Soul, about what's my purpose in life, my spark, my reason for living, etc., etc. They really do go hand in hand. I would still recommend Inside Out over Soul. I didn't hate Soul, as you'll see in the review I made for Soul. Check that out in the past episode of Who Has Been Watching. But Inside Out is still my favorite because that just, grabbed me from there, plopped me on the table, tore me apart, all without no anesthesia, basically. I was just wrecked from fucking Bing Bong. I like Soul. I did tear up a little bit with certain parts in Soul, but I didn't get that per usual or customary Disney Pixar thing of like they get you somehow. They just grab a hold of you and just fucking yank the tears out of you. They force them out of you. But yeah, that's Soul. That's Inside Out, though, of course. Inside Out was like the last time in theaters that I cried like that. That I was just a wreck. Huffing and puffing, snotting, snorting, just like in all kinds of emotional despair, of course. Not literally, but emotional despair. Like, I was literally like a fucking moose that got, like, shot in the calf muscle, and because I'm overgrown but I can't reach my own leg or I don't have opposable thumbs to pull out the bullet, I'm just gonna lay there stranded, just bellowing, whatever, as they do, I'm sure. Shout out to the mooses in Canada, I guess. Canada's probably full of them. But yeah, back to the point at hand. Speaking of animals, of course, and beloved animals, I think in general you can say pandas. Big, furry, fat-faced, chubby bears. They happen to be black and white. So, Stevie Wonder can appreciate them. Didn't he have that song, Ebony and Ivory, go together like perfect harmony and shit? But then again, question. Can Stevie Wonder, obviously, he's blind. He's been blind for most of his life. And what was the joke not too recently? He was getting divorced, and of all things, if a blind man can't tolerate your ass, then you must be a total cunt. As I'm probably sure she might have been of Stevie Wonder. I'm fucking blind, but I can't fucking stand you, bitch. That's crazy to think, but yeah. There's that whole fiasco. I wonder if Stevie Wonder could ever appreciate the majesty that is, or the adorableness that is a panda in real life. I don't know. Or how do you describe something like that to a blind person? Because if you can't hear but you can see, it's a whole different fucking thing. Because it doesn't matter. You can still see shit. At least there's sign language and whatever. But then, blind people got braille. Like reading bumps and shit. And somehow they can interpret that into words and meanings and whatever. Which I think is cool. But then how do you describe even like a panda bear? Because then can't he just be like, what's a bear to begin with? Like, that's an animal. Okay, but what kind of animal? It's a mammal, it's big, it's furry, hairy. They go rawr a lot. Or, maybe pandas go, shai xing chang or something like that. I'm kidding, of course. I know pandas, I don't know what sounds pandas make. I only seen that old YouTube clip, if anyone remembers it, at, what was it, the mother panda and the panda cub in the zoo cell. And then the baby panda's like so fucking tiny, whatever, but it sneezes like as loud as humanly or panda-like possible. Like, loud. And then the mother just looks at him shook. That's the only sound I've only heard emitted from a panda. Which, of course, DreamWorks Animation made sure not to do to Poe the panda, the dragon warrior, excuse me. Because he's, of course, an animal that talks, just like I would to you, or just how Jack Black would if, well, he was an animated fat panda. And I don't mean fat to body shame him, but, Jack Black will own up to his fatness, I don't think, or at least for as long as he's been known and famous, quote unquote, he's never been slim or thin or like athletically built. He's always been like pudgy. He's always been like a little thicker than probably medically recommended. And I think as of late, he's been kind of putting on the pounds, and he's the kind of guy that would really appreciate a pandemic, not to make fun of a pandemic for those that lost jobs or business, what I'm saying, but in these grim times, a little bit of light and humor can go a long way, at least for the moment, for the day of. But you know what I mean? A guy built like Jack Black would fully appreciate if he wasn't famous a pandemic, because he'd definitely be a gamer. He'd definitely be twitching, live streaming, like all day if possible, just like one side just handful of fucking Doritos or whatever flavor. The other hand is preoccupied, when not on the fucking joysticks and whatever, preoccupied with a 2-liter bottle of whatever flavor Mountain Dew was within reach of Target, without him having to walk too far or too deep in. Just snatched up the first one to make the physical exertion of having to grab some shit from the store as minimal as possible. Shout out to Jack Black, though. I'm actually a fan of his. And I believe later on in the year, as I'm putting together still my list of movies to review and go over and such, whatever, and celebrate, of course. This is the point of celebrating movies like this, or deep diving analysis like in the movies. I'm sure there's other Jack Black films that will come up. I'm pretty sure. I have to check my list twice on some Santa Claus shit. But yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3, obviously with the 3 in the title implies, it's the third of a trilogy of animated films. It goes from, of course, number 1, duh, remember school, Kung Fu Panda 1, and then Kung Fu Panda 2. It's crazy, though, because I think Kung Fu Panda 1 might have been 2011 to 2012. So from, let's say, 2011 to 2016 to have all 3 films released, it's pretty remarkable. That's like, what is that? That's, literally 5 years apart for 3 films. So I guess you could say like a year and a half wait between each film, which is great because I still remember loving the first one so much. It was really charming. You typically go with the gut feeling that the second one might be not as good, not as great, the sophomore jinx, as they say in music terms, but it ended up being pretty good itself too. I don't really remember 2 that much. I only seen it a couple of times. I know number 1's on FX or one of those channels all the time, so I always make sure to watch that when it's on. I love that movie. And then 3, I watched the least, but I do remember watching when it came out, and then there was a while between seeing it then and then again, and then there's now, for the sake of reviewing it today. Kung Fu Panda 3, let's get into it then, long story short. So yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3, of course, starring Jack Black as Po the Panda. By now, he's a dragon warrior. He's like the leader of the whole fucking thing in the Jade Palace with, crane, monkey, mantis, snake, tiger, and monkey. Did I say monkey already? Probably. Monkey, tiger, mantis, crane, snake? Oh yeah, and of course Master Shifu. Right. So there's all of them together. So it's the 3rd time around. If you haven't watched 1 and 2, I recommend them. But as far as 3 is concerned, by this point he's already the dragon warrior. So the chosen one to defend and protect the village. The chosen warrior out of everybody who's trained to become a kung fu master. Master whatever arts they mastered, and again protect the village and keep tradition alive and save the world, pretty much, as I guess is the theme of all hero films. In some sense, some way, everybody saved the world up until this point in every way imaginable. So on top of all things, now a Fat Panda does it. He's the master, he's the head cheese, and always eating, always thick with it, but he's able to throw hands and feet and most importantly belly when need be, when it comes to defend the village, the people, the world, everybody he loves, etc., etc. This time around, there's always the mystery alluding to, I think it was number 2 at the end, towards the credits, where they alluded to finally him having a father, which is an actual panda as well too, because here he's adopted by a duck. And the joke is, of course, the duck had to wait 20 years until he finally told him, no, stupid, you didn't come from an egg, you're a fucking panda from another panda. I can fly, by the way, too. Flap, flap. There's a nice little joke in there leading into it. But yeah, the father is alive. We know that from part two. Is a whole secret. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Spoilers. There's a whole village of pandas that survive because everybody thought at this point Po was the only panda still left. But no, there's a whole village, a secret village of pandas alive and well and thriving because they're all impressively thick-witted, but of course short-winded, as that would go hand in hand with being thick, with, in their case, I would say 3 C's, just to be fair. There's a whole village of them. They're hidden away for their own protection. He got a message from the universe to Dad to come find his son Po. He finds him, finds out he's a dragon warrior, but also he wants to take him back to actually, have his son back and all that shit. There's doubt from the duck daddy as far as like, well, motherfucker, I found him in a basket, eating his way out of it probably, but still, he's my son, 20 years, where have you been? Child support, I don't know how that worked in ancient Chinese times, but child support I'm sure was involved because to feed a big-ass panda like that, well, must not be easy. So they do their thing as far as like trying to understand, and like he's suspicious, of course, naturally, but then of course, leading up to that, he's already, again, the dragon warrior. His master, his sensei Shifu, red panda, I believe he is. Red panda? Red fox? Something like that. He's his master, has already taught him apparently everything he needs to know, so he says, okay, I'm done here, you're good, you're the master. I hand the reins over to you. Now it's your turn to teach everybody else around you, all the other, whatever they're called, the 5, whatever, guys, animals and shit that happen to be Kung Fu masters, but you're the master. You're like the head fucking guy. You're their boss, pretty much. You're their HR if they need to. So he leaves them in charge. He doesn't know. He doesn't feel he knows enough. He doesn't feel he's ready. And he's like, I want to be you. I want to be just like you if I'm going to be a teacher. And then, of course, with the teacher knowledge, I do like this about all 3. There's always little gems in there, little tidbits and takeaways, which is surprising to me, at least enough that Kung Fu Panda isn't heralded, the trilogy, I mean, all 3, isn't heralded as much as or as easily as the Disney Pixar films are, per usual, because I think we hold them all to such a higher standard, Disney Pixar films, where we kind of give them the leeway to be instantaneously classic. Now, of course, they got stinkers. Apparently, no one liked The Good Dinosaur. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. It looked cute, but who knows? I haven't seen it yet, as I said. People hated Cars 2, I believe, and or 3. And then there was another one that didn't do good, that people like shitting on. Oh yeah, well there is also then, if you count them, the live action version of like old animated shit like The Jungle Book and The Lion King. I haven't seen The Lion King, but I've heard it's literally just a 3D live version of The Lion King animated film. So I'm not looking forward to seeing it, but maybe eventually I'll make the time. And then The Jungle Book I actually did like. It's been real long ago since I've seen the original Jungle Book, but the live action one, at least, with Scarlett Johansson as a snake, as boring as she sounded as a snake, it was still sexy, because then I think, oh well, she sounds boring, but then, oh yeah, it's Scarlett Johansson. It's like, never mind. I like it. Her slithery self, slimy, wet. But yeah, going back to that, yeah, Disney Pixar seems to be like put on a pedestal. Like there's no chance of failure unless it's like really bad or it's just not hitting. But we do give them like the free pass initially to be like, okay, it's Disney, it's got to be good, because we remember and herald the classics so much. So in comparison, DreamWorks really has a tougher task of having to prove themselves time and time again, because I was thinking of this too as well. Kung Fu Panda, at least the trilogy, has been 1, 2, and 3 in succession really good films. I wouldn't even say, I can't even really say one's better than 3 or whatever order you want to put them in. All 3 of them kind of flow into one another kind of perfectly. And I can't really think of one being worse than the other. They're like kind of parallel. They're kind of like working within the same safe space of like, they're all really good. Like I enjoy them all. Obviously the first one's the one that really charmed the pants off us so much that we got 2 and then 3 all within the span of 5 years. And then there was a Nickelodeon series for, I think, a couple of seasons, which I liked. But I think they only got Jack Black to come back as the voice of Poe. Then, of course, everybody else wasn't going to come back for doing this shit because they had, like, Angelina Jolie, Jackie Chan, and, who was it? Lucy Law, not Lucy Lawless, that was Xena. What's the Asian lady's name from Charlie's Angels? I forget, and I feel so bad because she's from Queens too. But whatever, you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, there was that whole thing, and then DreamWorks has to really try to prove themselves because outside of Kung Fu Panda, I would think immediately Despicable Me. Those three have been good, surprisingly as well. Same thing. I'd say probably, maybe in that case, one was better than the other two and three, obviously, because it was just so different. It was itself. And then I think 2 and 3, they try to rely too much on the Minions, so much to the point where the Minions got their own film, which I did like too, but I'd still go with Despicable Me 1 being probably the better one. I'd have to see him again, because I can pretty much guarantee you that I'd still say number 1 out of all of them. Still the best one. I forget if that's the one that had Happy on it. I think not. I think it might have been 2 or 3, give or take. And then I think the only other one that stood out to me from DreamWorks might have been like, what? Recently I'm talking about, The Secret Life of Pets. I didn't see number 2, but at least number 1, I liked it. It was different. It was cool. It was his own thing. Which kudos to DreamWorks. They could have gone the easy route considering of let's do an animation style similar to Disney with, you know, the exaggerated facial features, big eyes, you know, trying to cover slowly but surely every race on the planet, representation, whatever and whatnot. They kind of do their own thing. They got their own animation style, which is good to see also, but they're also unique with their approach to things. They're not trying to literally carbon copy, you know, what worked for Disney. We'll just do the same thing, but like change the animal, or change the theme, change the location, whatever. No, they're not afraid to do their own thing. Try and fail, yes. I mean, besides that, you had Madagascar, which I didn't love so much. One was good, but then whatever they had or however many they had afterwards was like, hit and miss for me. The Penguins were good because it was a different approach to comedy. It was a quartet of penguins, just like, you know the Penguins. They were cool. I liked that, and I did like the show they had on Nickelodeon for a while too. I don't know how long it lasted or even they're even still on, but I did enjoy that as well as Kung Fu Panda. They were all really good because they were all unique, different. They weren't Disney. They weren't like risk takers as far as content or like being risque or whatever, but they were just them. Then of course there's classics too. They got classics like fucking Shrek. They got Shrek 1, 2, and 3. I don't think I've seen 3 actually, but I know 1 was really good. And I like 2 a lot because it just introduced new characters beautifully, you know, Puss in Boots. And then, was that the one where Fiona changed into like normal, whatever? Or back to normal from being female Shrek, pretty much, something like that. I just remember I liked that one a lot, maybe just mostly because of Puss in Boots. Then Puss in Boots got his own fucking film too. That one was really good. I like that one a lot as well. Really charming, really well done as well. Really unique. I'm surprised that Puss in Boots 2 hasn't come out. That because I think Puss in Boots 1 was a while ago, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. So for part 2 of that to not come out, it's kind of surprising. They decided to go with other entities, other properties, whatever, which is fine. They could do the thing, but strike gold once, why not try again, I guess. Maybe this time hit some diamonds. As they did with Shrek, as they did with fucking, I was talking about Kung Fu Panda, as they did with Despicable Me, and then fucking Madagascar too, which again, I didn't love so much, but I mean, it did fairly well. It got its sequels and all that shit too. But then going back to Kung Fu Panda, of course, his dad finds him after so long. Son, I'm sorry, but I had to protect the people. I thought I'd lost you forever, but now you're here. Let's take it back. Be one of us again, a panda. You never been one for real, so now let's make you a real panda like Pinocchio shit. I'm a real boy. I just want to be a real boy, but I want to be a real panda this time. All right, so they do that. Take him back to the village. Turns out there's this new villain who was like boys/brothers in arms with the head master, the super sensei, Ogwe, who was a sensei for Shifu, who was a sensei for Po, the panda warrior. from back when they had to fight each other off because General Kai wanted to master chi and harbor all the chi from all the great warriors for himself and take over, I guess, the land. Not so much the world, but at least the land, because I guess it was so old they didn't know there was stuff beyond China. So Oogway has to beat his ass, tame his ass, and send him to the spirit realm because he was evil, of course. Then he comes back, fights his way back into the real world as a spirit warrior, comes and starts taking old warriors and bringing them back to life, but, you know, mind controlled under his chi, evil chi, I guess you could say, taking over slowly but surely the village, the land, and now it's up to Poe to defend all the people and beat his ass, but he's a spirit warrior, and he's a master of chi, so only another master or an even bigger master of chi can be the one to defeat him. So now his dad conveniently enough says, well, I'm a panda. We know chi and all that stuff. We saved Uwei's ass when he was halfway near dead with chi. So I'll teach you. I got you. Don't worry about it. You know, I'll be a good dad this time. I got you this time. So then he leads him into that, but he's more worried about keeping him safe, it turns out. Ulterior motive. Has to tell him at some point, listen, I don't know chi. It's been so long since pandas, or at least this group of pandas, have done chi that I don't know how to do it, so I can't help you. I'm sorry I lied, but I did it to keep you safe. As they try to, you know, reach the point home is that, oh, you do it to protect the family. We lie sometimes and tell you things that we, you know, don't really mean, but we're there for you. So that's why we're protecting you. We lie and cover things from you. Oh, shout outs to Kenneth Stones. Again, as always, and first and foremost, shout outs to Dirty Heels 132, representing proudly. What's up, guys? So yeah, he lies to his son. Son is obviously mad, but then his other dad, his adoptive dad, Duck Daddy, not Dynasty, but just Duck Daddy, tells him, okay, you know, you can't be mad at your real dad. You know, he's a fat panda just like you. You look exactly alike. So he fucked up a little bit and lied, but I lied too to you. You know, you were stupid enough for me to lie to and say you came from an egg, but you're a panda. Obviously, you're a mammal, so you can't come from an egg. Or do mammals come from eggs? Do some mammals come from eggs? Don't take my word on it, because I thought for the longest time squirrels came out of eggs. And then I found out way later on in life than I should have that I think a kid pointed it out to me, and then I was like really embarrassed. But okay, there's that point. So yeah, now he has to learn that to beat the spirit warrior who's taken all the chi of the other great warriors of the land. Shout out to Dr_COVID_2019. To defeat all of them, he has to master chi himself. So he's begging his dad, but dad already lied. But then Master Shifu said, and I like this quote a lot. That's why I was saying 1, 2, and 3, Kung Fu Panda, all three of them, all had their little hidden messages and gems in them, which is like so vital to life and so applicable to whatever you're going through as well. The point of 3 is to teach you need to be you at all times, and only be you by being the most you can be. And I like that he says, quote, thank God I had notes here, if you only do what you can do, you will never be more than what you are now, which I think really hit home. I mean, I didn't cry, I didn't like tear up or nothing like that, but that's so real, because we live in the world of, you know, you got to put this face on, this facade on, this shit on for the sake of IG, for the sake of YouTube, for the sake of social media to give off one appearance, but then you're really a whole nother person on deep inside. And it's a whole thing of identity and all that shit too. He does find out who he is by understanding he is all the things he became, or people identify him as, but he is, at the end of the day, the Dragon Warrior. Once the bad guy comes to fuck everybody up and take everybody's chi, shout out to Patrick Borrelio. I fucked that up, I'm sorry, bro, but hopefully, you know, you can understand. Social media is not so much for reading, it's for actually looking at shit. At least this dummy right here that can't read last names like that. But yeah, so when the guy's coming around to fuck everybody up and steal everybody's chi and suck their spirits on some Shang Tsung shit, you know, your soul is mine, like we did in the last episode for Mortal Kombat. 2 episodes ago for Mortal Kombat 1995. coming around, but then, you know, Po comes around to teach the village of pandas, you know, you need to be you and as you as possible to make sure we can fuck this guy up and stop him dead in his tracks before he takes over all of China and wipes out all the pandas, and then we're all fucked forever and then living in the spirit realm dead. Point is, then there will be no more pandas. So then they're doing their whole thing being fat and disarming all the fucking spirit warriors he took over. General Kai, I mean. Finally, he's able to trick General Kai into the wushu, woo, whatever fucking pinky thing. But it can't work on him because he's a spirit warrior. He's from the spirit realm. So he has to wrap around him like a fucking bear would, of course, duh, panda, and do it to himself to warp each other back to the spirit realm. They fight. But then that's when he discovers he is the legit dragon warrior. And then finally masses his chi because everyone starts to believe in themselves again. As far as the pandas, they start to remember, oh shit, we do have these powers of fucking chi to like help our boy out because he gave his life for us to protect us fat ass bears and shit. We're conflicted because we're black and white, and they all start believing you are my son. You're a dragon warrior. You're a mean fighting machine and all that shit. And he starts harboring all the chi for himself, and he shoots a fucking chi beam to the fucking General Kai, beats his ass. He's defeated, gone, whatever. And what I do like about this shit, I forget if this led into the animated series for Nickelodeon, which would make sense because I'm off with the timelines. But I do like that once this ends, Kung Fu Panda 3, that's it. It's the end. No more, no post-credits, no right before the credits roll, another fucking, you know, mysterious figure comes from out of nowhere or gets a message transmitted to him or her saying, oh, there's a fat panda I need to fuck up somewhere and be the real master or whatever. No. We get the final fucking scene. Everybody knows chi now. They're all fucking like, what's that movie? Doctor Strange, and making the shit with their hands, the circles and teleportation and whatever. They're all mastering chi. So that's a village you don't want to fuck with at all, because they're protected by even the cooks and the chefs and the housewives all know chi now. So they'll all fuck you up and teleport your ass to like another realm if you come through trying to cause a ruckus. And everything too. But that's what I like. It ends. He's like the Grand Master now. He is the Dragon Warrior. Master Shifu says, of course, in conclusion, oh, since you're the master and you got this nice ass staff you got from my master, and now it's confirmed you know Tai Chi better than I would ever in my fucking red panda ass life, you big ass fucking panda. Can you teach me now? And it's cute. It's sincere the way it ends. That's it, though. I like a fucking finale. There's no bullshitting. There's no hinting at possible Kung Fu Panda 4, which it's been 5 years since, so I doubt we're going to get a fourth one. Or can they reboot animated shit? Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Wait a second. This could be bad. Because as big a hit as Kung Fu Panda the trilogy was, 1, 2, and 3, and all the knockoffs it got. I forget the fucking name of the knockoff version of Kung Fu Panda. It might have been Karate Bear or some shit like that. Oh, shout outs to _ Papa Tyam _ 12345 and _ .madcax _ for joining. Hello and hello. Waves to you. Or hello. How are you? But yeah, there was a knockoff series of fucking Kung Fu Panda, as they do with all the good animated flicks, you know, because China, they like to do that shit. Something's hot here, it pops off, it gets popular, goes mainstream. Of course they gotta fucking copy it. And I'm not being racist or stereotypical like that, but it is known for the longest time that they will do that. And it's fine. If you could do a proper copy of whatever's out there that's so expensive it's unaffordable, you can make a cheap alternative one and it's still good, hey, it's all right. What were they saying in the fucking news like a couple weeks ago? That the street vendors now are like probably selling more than ever now with the knockoff purses, with the knockoff this. They fucking I saw it last night on the news. They fucking raided somebody Well, they busted, of course, I think a couple of Chinese people that were making fucking fake COVID masks. And not even like the N95s, like the medical staff one, whatever, which those are so annoying. I can't tolerate those. They itch my face and rash me and whatever. And then the simple basic blue ones too, they do the same. They like, I have no beard, but somehow they get caught in my beard. Like fake Gucci, exactly. You know, the Fucci, the Poochie, all them shits too. They just busted like a whole warehouse full of fake, of all things, fake fucking COVID masks. Now, if you want to delve into that realm of being potentially racist, stereotypical, whatever, if you buy into that part, okay, supposedly COVID came from a lab in China or from someone eating a bat in China, whatever. So of all things now, funny enough, they're not on lockdown like the rest of the world is, or their cases ain't so high as the rest of the world is starting to get now. This is according to the news, of course. I'm not trying to pump out fake news there. But of all things now, the people that supposedly gave us the thing to begin with, they're now mainland, they got it from there, they brought it over here, whatever, they're making the fake masks. So of all things, as simple as a fucking mask is, they give it to you for free. I'm talking about New York City here. I don't know where everybody else is at. In the subways, you go in and let's say, oh, we've only been in a pandemic, mask mandate for like the past 10 months. I forgot my mask. Oops, dumb fuck me. They'll give you one at the stations with a fucking agent there. Here's a mask for free. You don't have to pay another fare. You don't have to give a donation, contribute, nothing. No, take a mask, wear the shit, and go about your fucking day. Socially distance, be mindful, respectful, keep your fucking mask on. That's what they want you to do. So they do you that fucking solid. It's just crazy to think that of all things needed, I mean, it's become a whole business in itself. Obviously, since like month one, there's been the people that, in credits and shout outs to them, whoever capitalized on like designer face mask, printed logo, whatever kind of mask too as well, you got to give kudos to them because they took what might have been a really grim situation or something they might not have been able to have done otherwise, and they profited, they benefited from it and made a whole business out of it too. There's designer masks, there's these, I started wearing these ones from, what's the store's name? I think it's like Asian influenced, Uniqlo. They sell these kind of masks. They're like cloth material, but they're not cloth like clothing or this, whatever. They're like breathable, light. They're like really, it's like almost wearing no mask. They're so breathable. I can breathe normal. You know, I might have like a deviated septum or something, some sort of breathing problem. I don't have COVID. I never did. And I've been tested all negative all times, thank God. But yeah, they do me wonders because the regular blue ones were like closing off my breathing space and like I was itchy and sweaty and rashy all the time. So those have been a godsend, the ones. So shout outs, I guess, unofficially to Uniqlo for making those. I think they're called the Airism masks. They're really good. They're like $12 for like 3 of them, but washable. They stay intact. They don't, tear up or like knot up like a lot of cheap material would. No, they're good. I can definitely recommend those. But it's just insane to think of all fucking things. They got to take the masks, make that a business, which some have profited, and as long as they work and keep you safe, that's great. But now they try to knock that off on top of, people going through hard times. They're not making as much as they used to. They got to buy the fake purses for, I don't know to impress who, because you're not going out, or you're not supposed to be going out like that. But then some people feel the need of, oh, God forbid, and not to be sexist, but women feel like, oh, I'm going to go out to the store. I'm going to go out to make my fucking rounds in the shop. So they can't catch me out there in the streets with a cheap looking purse or the one I had from last spring. So maybe that's a reason to go fucking buy a fake purse on Canal Street, wherever in Manhattan they're getting it from too, or fake designer threads. I'm sure like online, the fake designer knockoff big brand fucking brand names are really raking in the dough right now. And especially since a lot of us, most of us, I think, got a second stimulus check, they're probably profiting off of that too as well. It's crazy to think. I don't know. And then there's that whole issue with Amazon, which I'm a loyalist to. I got Amazon Prime. I use Amazon for almost everything I got. Essential goods too as well. This is from Amazon. I really didn't need this. I was shopping for things I actually needed, but this is so cool. I figured I fucking get it too as well. there's a whole issue with if you got to be careful what you buy on Amazon, because if it's enough of a misspelled name of a big brand, whatever big brand, you're gonna get a Chinese version of it that fucking lasts you 2 uses and then it's fucking no good no more. There's always that too as well. So I don't know. But going back to the point at hand, Kung Fu Panda 3 from 2016. Did I mention? I may have not, but if I didn't, the animation style from 1, from 2, and for 3 as well, all beautifully rendered. I mean, it's not like I'm looking at a legit real panda. It's supposed to be animated. That was my fear. Getting back to that point, that was my fear. There's knockoffs, there's copies, imitations of something that's successful. I hope that DreamWorks doesn't go the route of what Disney's been doing and remaking the live 3D version of animated classics. Because embarrassingly enough, I think one of the first things that might have released on Disney Plus, which I was going to get anyway because I love Disney shit. They got the Marvel universe, they got the Star Wars universe, which I'm a new fan of thanks to The Mandalorian. They had the live version of, what was that movie? Lady and the Tramp. Which I saw the old one when I was younger at somebody's house. Who the fuck knows when? Or from what time? Or if they were even a girl or boy. I may have watched it with another boy by mistake. So, whoops. But, well, that was, I think he might have been a Spanish kid too. So Spanish mothers don't know what the fuck they're putting on TV for us to watch at that age because no speak of English. So they just thought, película, bueno, whatever, just don't bother me while I'm cooking. The live action version of that came out and I was, oddly enough, wanting to see it. I guess because I love dogs, so I thought dogs are talking, dogs are cute. Dogs are pretty much an easy sell for a lot of things like that. So, okay, I'm sold. I'll watch anyway. I was going to get it anyways, but I got it now because of that. I remember I even took the fucking time out of my work day. I was able to do that at the office when we were still working in offices and whatever, and watched it at work, in gaps and spaces too. And you know what? I think I'm guilty. I no shame in admitting it. I'm a big fan, looks-wise, talent-wise, but then again, looks-wise, I'm sold on fucking Tessa Thompson. Well, she wasn't even in the film. She was just the voice of the female dog, I guess, lady. So I watched it mainly because off of that strength. And it wasn't that good. I wasted my time. It was very simplistic. It was beautifully put together, but it was, I think, literally just an animated movie in real life. Or if like a theater, club felt like that was such a classic, they had to remake it with humans and tangible objects like us. I guess that's as close as you got, and that's as good as it was going to get anyway. Or, dogs. But yeah, it wasn't that good. I don't recommend that so much. So yeah, I'm worried that maybe DreamWorks might feel tempted, since it's been 5 years since Kung Fu Panda 3 came out. They might just go ahead and make, oh God, I don't even want to imagine it, a fucking 3D real life version of Kung Fu Panda. So who's going to play the panda? Are they going to get Jack Black to do the voice again? Do they have to green screen his ass or put like motion capturing, a stunt double for his ass too? Again, I love Jack Black. I know he's pretty active considering how chubby he is and lovable he is. I don't want to see him jumping and and kicking and punching around like a buffoon. That would be unnecessary. _madcats_. I'm butchering your name, I'm sorry, but it is Instagram, so forgive me. It's social media. Yeah, it'd be totally unnecessary, and I hope. It looks like DreamWorks won't be going that route. They might just stick to animation, which again, they've been on and off, hit and miss. It's no longer the years of when they had Shrek, a solid run of 3 films. Madagascar again, which I didn't love. The first one was good, but then afterwards it got kind of really goofy and corny, like just loud shit half the time. Despicable Me was good. I love those 3. I didn't love the Minions so much, but it was like, of the 3, if you had to make it 4, that's number 4. And then, of course, you got Kung Fu Panda, which, like, again, they got his own series on Nickelodeon, just like Madagascar. No, not Madagascar. The Penguins of Madagascar did as well, too. So hopefully there's no live remake of that shit. It's completely unnecessary. I mean, if they can't even get, like, the de-aging shit as they did with The Irishman, which it wasn't terrible, like people made it, or I get it, don't base a whole movie or its worth on how unconvincing the de-aging was at sometimes, or the mouth isn't matching and this and that and the other. Although The Irishman did fuck up a lot, because within the first 10 minutes, while you're supposed to be looking at supposedly a really young Joe Pesci and a really young Robert De Niro, while they're going over the truck engine, Joe Pesci has a liver-spotted heavy hand, which is, signs of a 70-plus-year-old man, while he's supposed to be like 30-something in the very first 10 minutes of the film. So, considering how long that shit is, I might have to do a re-review of The Irishman again, because I tried watching it again. Those 3.5 hours, like, yeah, I kind of regret it. Haven't tried it for a third time. But yeah, if they can't get the de-aging shit just right yet, it's not perfect, but it's not horrible, it's not trash like a lot of people make it out to be. And it's also not like as I guess unanimously bad as, like, I guess mostly the Star Wars fans made out the fucking de-aging of Luke Skywalker with the season 2 finale Mandalorian. I didn't think it was that bad, but when I had to go back and watch it again, I thought, oh shit, I did watch this episode like at 3 in the morning, 3:01, when it finally dropped on Disney Plus. So I might have been watching it with like sleepy, groggy eyes or whatever. Oh, shout out to DJ Loudone, of course. What's up, brother? I had to go back and watch it again and make sure. I might have just been watching with sleepy eyes. And I did see the fucking mismatching mouth and the not so perfect, like, syncing up of the face and whatnot of Luke Skywalker. But it wasn't terrible either, because obviously if they got him de-aged, they're not going to have him move around, jump around, leap around like a fucking idiot to try to make it look convincing enough. So as harsh as people are critiquing it to be, it's really not that bad. But we're not there just yet with the de-aging. So hopefully, and point being told again, if they can't get human faces right as they can't now, it probably won't for like maybe another 5 years. Let's just give it to like 2025 and try again. The animals, the live action shit, it's still not convincing. It looks great considering how far we've progressed with technology and film, but it's just still not there yet. And if you want more proof of that, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Underscore mad, God damn it, I'm sorry. Underscore mad cat XAT underscore, forgive me. You gave me a compliment, I still fucking up your name. I'm so sorry. But I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm just hoping that, they can revisit it properly, but in due time. There's no urgency for it right now. So if they leave that alone, I think it'd be the better option for the sake of let's make shit more convincing. Or you know what? What about this thing? How about make some original fucking movies? We're already getting all these remakes of TV shows. What's the one they're remaking now with what's her ass? Alyssa Milano. I forget. Is that the one she did with Tony Danza? Who's the Boss or whatever? I never watched that show, so I don't know, to be honest. But they're remaking that shit for TV. They're remaking films out the ass. We've been getting that for like the last couple of years. There's so much shit already out. Music. It started with music. Music coming out now every Friday. There's like EP this, 3-track, 4-track that, album here out of fucking nowhere, and then that's like 35 releases this week, and then next week it's like 53 because, I forgot a special bonus deluxe ultra unreleased Japan only edition of this fucking version that came out 2 weeks ago, but there's one more minute added to the last track. That's an added bonus that you never get anywhere else unless I tell you about it and I re-promote again. I mean, thank God for Spotify. You only pay that one monthly fee and then that's all you got to worry about. Because if you had to fucking shell out the fucking money for all these shits like you used to with albums and CDs or whatever, we all be broke. And on top of that, in the pandemic, you're broke. Just for the sake of trying to entertain yourself. I miss record shops. But, goddamn, we can't even go see that shit no more. I mean, they were dusty as fuck to begin with anyway. And you might have gotten, like, COVID or herpes or whatever, just flipping through the wrong stack of records. But, okay, I still miss it, though. I still miss the record shops. But, yeah, shout out to all the vinyl fanatics like me, too. I got into cassettes, actually. Back into it. I'd stopped for a little bit, but now I'm trying to collect cassette tapes again, too. So, if anybody out there like me knows of some place to buy, at least on eBay, wherever the fuck else you got to recommend, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, let's leave Kung Fu Panda alone. I think it's like good enough to not try to reboot, because then I did ask earlier, can you reboot an animated film? But then the only logical next thing would be, unfortunately, as Disney's been trying to do with us and play with our emotions, we still got that live action fucking Little Mermaid remake coming up whenever it does. Hopefully DreamWorks doesn't copy them and do the same thing. And hopefully Pixar isn't convinced by Disney to do so and start making a live action version of, I don't know, The Good Dinosaur, which supposedly sucked and no one liked. And then we got a live action version of that. So we're stuck there. But yeah, all in all, the trilogy, Kung Fu Panda 1, 2, and 3, really good. 3 is the one we're talking about today, but I loved it. I strongly recommend it. Let's bring this thing on home. I rambled enough about 3 and like China itself and the government and the fake COVID mask and all this stuff. Not to be racist, not to be stereotypical, but I'm just saying what I saw. And hopefully what you've been thinking too, and you can hopefully relate to. I'm sun level. Here, there, in between, whatever. But yeah, who this been watching? This episode's been focusing on Kung Fu Panda 3, 5 years since its release, back on January 16th of 2016. To give it a rating, I got a rating system, by the way, my own individual unique one, unique only to who this been watching. And that was thanks to motherfucking Wonder Woman 1984, which another very prime example of very bad, very, very, very bad graphics, computer effects, whatever you want to call it. The job they did with Cheetah and the waste of time with Cheetah and how she looked and how she evolved into her fucking shit. No good. So bad, blurry as fuck. I thought I had beer goggles on watching her shit, and I wasn't drunk at all. It was Christmas. I'm not that desperate or lonely to do so. And I was waiting for that one first, but then they said, HBO Max said, no, fuck you, come back at noon, Christmas Day, and then you can watch the movie. So then I had to go to Seoul, thank God, because Seoul was the better option, and then I went to I might as well have been drunk to watch Wonder Woman 1984, because at least I would have been 2.5 hours of doing something useful, which is kicking back a fucking bottle. But Gal Gadot is still, oh, what a fucking dream come true of a woman. But yeah, the Who This Been Watching rating system is exclusive to me, Who This, and Who This Been Watching, the movie recap / review podcast or IG live session we're doing right now. It works pretty simple, but I like it to be unique because I don't want to be like, oh, I love this film because, it reminded me of a nice sunny day under my mother's skirt, looking up her pussy lips or whatever. No, we're not doing cuck shit like that. We're doing real shit. Now listen, it's based off emotions, how you feel, or maybe even emojis if you can relate in that sense too. Now, we'll work our way down from the top to the very bottom, because I'm sure as a good blowjob is, they start at the tip, lick, lick, lick from there, and work their way down to your balls, if you can appreciate that. Or I guess same if you eat pussy too. You start at the lips outside, how you doing? Work your way all the way down to the clit and G-spot. Allegedly, it does exist, and supposedly I found it once or twice. You gotta ask them though. I can't, vouch for that myself. But yeah. But yeah, the rating system goes as follows. If something's the equivalent of 4 out of 4, like a classic, a masterpiece, I gotta recommend it to everybody I know in life or within at least shouting distance, like, hey, watch this movie. Something like that. I gotta give it a yes. I want more. Give me another one. I gotta watch this again and again and again. Over and over. If this was a VHS tape, I'm wearing the fuck out of that tape. And I'm not passing it down to my kids because, oops, it vaporized. how many times I watched it. Not my fault. It was that good. You got fucking digital streaming media now. Go watch it there, you fuck. If something's a 3 out of 4, or let's say 3 stars out of 4, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of equivalent, I'd give it a which is what a delight. I may have expected worse, but I was pleasantly surprised. It's a winner. I like it. I gotta recommend it. Whoever can relate to this kind of movie or this taste of movie or genre, whatever, hey, why don't you give it a watch? You'll probably have a good time like I did too. Now, moving on down the totem pole, per se. If something's a 2 out of 4, 2 stars out of 4, whatever the fuck you want to give it, I gotta go with a O, which is intermediate, neutral ground, the gray area, as they say. I was possibly expecting worse, but it's not that bad. I may have expected it to be somewhat decent, but it wasn't. I don't know how to feel. It's kind of like, you can watch it if you want. I can't really recommend it. Don't take my opinion for it. That's mid-ground, that's mid if you smoke whatever. Yeah, 2 out of 4. Now, if it goes into a 1 out of 4, and this ain't the bottom of the barrel yet, no. If it goes into 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4 stars, whatever the fuck, or I guess the equivalent to like Siskel and Ebert, that'd be 2 thumbs, 1 thumb, 1 thumb. 1 thumb. No, half a thumb. Half a thumb. So like a stub. You lost out in the war or something. Emotional war, hopefully, not legit war. Peace. If it gets a 1 out of 4, it's a meh. Meaning, it's not trash. It's not abysmal. It's not terrible. But I can't recommend it. It's not good. I didn't have fun. I can't watch this again. Or maybe it's like a guilty pleasure. There's one scene that's so cool it saves it from being terrible. Or let's say, for example, Wonder Woman 84. Gal Gadot is such a fine-ass looking woman. And also Pedro Pascal, or Mandalorian Man, was so good as a really kind of corny, cheesy villain. Yeah, that's a meh. Just because it's not terrible. It had those 2 little bits of saving grace. So yeah, there's that. Also, Suicide Squad was 1 out of 4. Thank you for bringing up Suicide Squad. That will be reviewed later on this year to touch on, I guess, I would say anniversary if it was something to celebrate, but anniversary as far as remember when this shit came out. We'll go into that, so make sure you join in for that one. If you Google the release date for Suicide Squad, I was going to say Suicide Squad. If you Google the release date for that shit, is this year. I had that in mind already. That'll definitely be touched upon. So, yeah. Maybe it might actually make it into the next bottom of the barrel, scraping the shit off the bottom, go off your shoe, trash off the street, whatever. You're doing community service, you're stuck doing this shit. 0 out of 4. No stars. Siskel and Ebert giving no thumbs, all numbs, if anything. No. You don't want to see this shit at all. To sum it up, you go with why? Why was this given a budget? Why was this given a director? Why was this most likely made as a bootleg initially in China or Hong Kong, wherever? And then someone said, you know what? We can't leave this out there in China. We got to bring this over here. It might be starring Steven Seagal from like 2 years ago. And somehow he's supposed to be a sniper at like 67 years old. But he's got sunglasses on, looking into the lens, about to scope you out of nowhere. Supposedly. It's suspending all sorts of reality. It's an insult. It's might as well a hot right into your face. Pretty much. 0 out of 4. Utter trash. I haven't given anything yet here, 10 episodes deep, a 0 just yet. Suicide Squad might be a candidate. Leaning towards that. But we'll see, if not that, who gets that first honor. As far as Kung Fu Panda 3 though is concerned, I might surprise you. You might think you might have a good guess already. But guess what? Not just yet. I might fool you, I might dupe you, because I gotta go and give this one. Can you read that? Yes! I gotta give this one a 4 out of 4. Yes! I want more some way, somehow. Or we probably did get more because the animated series on Nickelodeon, I remember watching it, was actually pretty good. It wasn't as great as the 3 films can be because it's so many episodes, a couple of seasons, whatever. It did fall off a little bit towards the end. But if you just would have stuck with the 3 films itself, I'd even dare to say DreamWorks should herald these three, Kung Fu Panda 1, 2, and 3, as their best work to date. I love Shrek. I didn't love 3 so much. I don't even remember it that well, to be honest. Madagascar, I wasn't a big fan of. I did like number 1. 2 and 3 was just like a screeching contest amongst all those animals, funny enough, in the jungle of all places. And also, there is fucking, God, what was the other one I just talked about? The other, Despicable Me. I did love those 3 also. The Minions, not so much, but not to call it bad either. But I think if you look at it all, just look. The look, the animation style, the story, the comedy, the message delivered, everything flowing into one scene into the next. Overall, it's got to be Kung Fu Panda, the trilogy. I think that's the best body of work DreamWorks Animations has to represent itself properly. I hope they can get inspired enough to make something as delightful, as enjoyable as the Kung Fu Panda trilogy has been. And hopefully they'll stick to those kind of formulas of changing the game as far as animation goes. Disney is already held on a pedestal that it's Disney, it can't be bad unless it's really bad, or we're told it's really bad. DreamWorks has to really fight its way up to another fucking weight class, if anything, to be taken serious half the time. And they can punch above their level if they choose to. Again, Madagascar, Despicable Me, Shrek, a couple others I'm probably forgetting right now, but it's not on purpose, just I can't remember right now. And most importantly, Kung Fu Panda, the trilogy. I hope they really do not choose to go with the live action remake route that Disney's doing right now and they're failing at. I don't care how much you may have liked Aladdin the remake or The Lion King or whatever. Jungle Book wasn't bad, but it wasn't fantastic either. But yeah, stick to your guns, DreamWorks. Keep doing what you do, and hopefully we'll get more excellent stuff like Kung Fu Panda, but no live action Kung Fu Panda. Please, I hope to God, I pray to whatever you believe in too. Let's pray to him, her, it, whatever. The universe, the stars all aligned. But yeah, that's it for today. Who This been watching? I'm Who This, of course. If you're not already following me, I'd really appreciate it if you do right now on Instagram at Who This Is One. On YouTube as well. Please show love and support. YouTube.com/Who This Is One. As always, Who This been watching? This is the live IG live session / podcast I do for movie recaps and reviews in my own styling and, preference. You'll always get it here first on IG Live Saturdays. Every Saturday, different movie. Times to be determined because, I'm an adult. I got stuff to do as well, as I'm sure you do too. So most likely give or take 3 or 4 Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, every Saturday, that's a given. Every Saturday, Who This been watching? New episode. A couple of days later, it'll be up on my YouTube. It'll be up wherever you get your audio podcast from. DSPs of all sorts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcast, iTunes, etc., etc. Wherever you get your audio podcast from, I'll be there as well too, with the audio version of this episode as well. As all the other ones too, this is a celebration. Thank God it was the first one I got to give a yes to, a 4 out of 4 to. Kung Fu Panda 3 for episode 10. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week as usually scheduled for Saturday with another film of my choosing. I might. Don't hold me to it just yet, but 50-50 chance. I might be back like I've done before midweek with another episode. I'll do that on occasion. If there's something else I watch and I gotta bring it up or it's being discussed right now and I felt like I gotta talk about it myself, I'll be back midweek with it. But I'll let you know. Check out my stories on IG to be first on that, to be notified. Again, if you haven't followed already, please do so. I appreciate everybody who joined me today. I don't remember the names right now because, chats be like that. I'm caught up in the moment in the spur of and shit. But shout outs to everybody too. The one I can see right now, name. Shout outs to you again, _.mad CX8T._. Appreciate you for chiming in. Comments are always welcome. Suggestions too as well. Email me, DM me, whatever you got to do too. Suggestions are open. If you want to be a future guest on the pod, I'm always welcome to have anybody. I know you, I don't know you, first time, long time, whatever. Jump in, request to be part of live. and or DM me, and I'll send you the list of movies I got planned for the next coming couple of weeks and months. See which one's up your alley. Let me know first. Boom, I got you. You can definitely be part of it and take part as well. I'm open to all platforms. Don't be shy, just like I ain't to do this kind of thing too, considering I'm like 5 years removed from 40. So why the fuck not? Let's have fun. Who just been watching? Every Saturday. Check me out next week. I appreciate whoever you are. Much love, shout outs. Stay COVID free. And remember, stay weird as best you can. You got one life to live, and remember, if you only do what you can, you will never be more than what you are now. Who just been watching?